All right, now to the Middle East. Secretary of State Marco Rubio traveling there today to talk with Gulf allies on Iran. This comes as the U.S. is now allowing Iran to sell its oil in U.S. dollars. It's the first time in more than 4 decades.
To the growing backlash against President Trump over the Iran war. The Senate voted yesterday to limit the president's war powers. There are also new questions about the U.S. deal to stop all this fighting. Nicole Killian is on the National Mall, where the president is set to hold a rally tonight, and they say he's going to be making some new announcements. Nicole, good morning. What can you tell us?
Several celebrity performers and a handful of Democratic states backed out of the event.
Yellow, Pennsylvania.
On Tuesday, the president went to a Mack truck plant in Pennsylvania, the same facility President Biden visited in 2021, where Trump focused on the economy since reaching an agreement with Iran.
I did it for this reason, 99% for this. Iran will never have a nuclear weapon.
We're giving the Iranians. I don't understand why the Iranians are snubbing J.D. Vance. They should be kissing his booger-laden ring. I mean, what does America get for all these concessions?
Our position, because I know they're having those discussions right now in Israel. So I think we need to make sure that they know they can't cross that red line for sure. But then also we are going to continue to take away support from them because we want to ensure that they are restrained, because that's never happened to them before. So I think if we're not strong in a moment like this, something catastrophic like that could happen.
Yo, what is good, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of ACL. I'm your host, a conservative libertarian here, and we're back with another one, man. Yes, sir. All right, before I get into this video, I just want to thank you guys for so much support on all the videos that I've been posting lately. A lot of my videos are doing really well, so I appreciate all the support you guys are doing. Keep liking, keep commenting, keep subscribing. Whether you agree or disagree with me, I always want to hear your opinions, man. I'm not one of these guys who is just sitting in my echo chamber and not trying to listen to outside opinions. I definitely want to hear different opinions, and if we have disagreements or if we have agreements on certain things, then that's okay, you know what I'm saying? And then if we don't always agree on something, we can always hash it out in the comments, and that's what they're there for, right? So now you guys are pretty aware of what's going on in the state of affairs when it comes to the war in Iran, right? And the war going on with US and Iran, right? We all know what's happening, right? And it's not really looking too good for the US. It may look good from a military perspective, but when it comes to the economy, and it also comes to, you know, the political apparatus, right? You know what I'm saying? The political landscape, right? It's not shifting very well in Trump's favors. You're getting a lot of pushback. I think Trump right now in favorability. Now, let's be in mind, half of the country already doesn't like Trump, right? So half the country already by default don't like Trump. So we have to take that into consideration. And if you see it, you obviously can tell that his approval rating has dropped tremendously. You know what I'm saying? It's not high anymore. I think it's below 30%. But you know, when it comes to him and his base, you know, is typically around 90%, if not 100%. Agreeing with him. But as the MOU has came out and all these different deals of peace are breaking out with US and Iran, a lot of the people inside of the MAGA tent or within the Republican tent are starting to fracture, because a lot of different people, like established Republicans and stuff like that, typically aren't really for trying to make peace with a regime that they don't believe is operating in good faith.
History demonstrates that giving billions of dollars to theocratic lunatics who want to murder us is an exceptionally bad idea.
Unless you were homeschooled by a day drinker, no one's confident that Iran's going to do anything.
$300 billion, obviously a lot of money. Who's paying this money? And why? Why would they do this?
I can be sympathetic to that because really, I don't think that we should be negotiating with terrorists anyways. Now, not everyone in Iran is a terrorist, right? You know what I'm saying? Let's make that clear. The civilians in Iran aren't terrorists, right? It is the regime that is in support of terrorist, proxies like Hezbollah and Hamas, right? The way how Israel has gone about taking care of Hamas and Hezbollah and these different type of terrorist organizations that the U.S. has deemed terrorists, they might not have gone about it in the right place. They're literally decimating that entire area Israel is. And if you guys want to know my opinion on where we stand and where I feel like we should stand with Israel, personally, I don't think our allegiance or our commonality or our goal, our end goal is the same as Israel. I think what Israel wants to take over Lebanon. They want to completely take over that entire portion of like the Gaza Strip and all these different areas that is occupied by the Lebanese, Palestinians, different areas of that region. They want to be able to occupy and control those areas, right? In order to do that, you have to overthrow regimes, government, topple military organizations to even be able to acquire that. But the way they're doing it is by just wiping out certain areas and landscapes where people have homes. There's civilians there, but they are claiming that Hamas and them and Hezbollah is occupying that area, right? They are in there, you know what I'm saying, underneath homes and living in people's, hospitals and stuff like that. They are continuing their operations underneath the guise of being civilians. That's what Israel is trying to claim, right? And I'm not trying to make this a whole spill about Israel and what Israel is trying to do, but we have to take that into consideration when we look at why the US even got involved in the conflict to begin with. And I think Trump, when he first got into the war, he necessarily didn't believe that Iran even had the capabilities to control the strait, really. So that's why I think he went in first. And most of the reason why Trump is in the position that he's in is because he uses the art of war to his advantage. And sometimes when you use the art of war, you gotta know, right? You gotta know not every regime that you try to topple is going to be easy than the last regime that you just got rid of, right? It's not going to be that easy, right? And presidents prior knew this, and that's why, Obama, even though what Obama did necessarily wasn't, I would say, ideal, because you're making peace with people who don't like us. They don't like us. Why are we making peace with people that we don't like, right? We shouldn't even try to even be friends with these people, right? Or even try to cozy up to them, because once you start cozying up to terrorists, then anything flies, anything goes. So then you're not going to be able to sit back and be like, oh, well, I disagree with what they're doing, when you literally gave them the blueprint and you literally let them do what they want to do. You might put sanctions on them. You might not allow them to be able to sell goods inside of the country, but you still give them money to be able to build their country up, to make their country the way how they want to do it. And at the end of the day, we shouldn't be allowing certain terrorist organizations or certain terrorist regimes have the capabilities of wiping out civilizations, right? Okay, should just never happen, right? So we have this video right here. It's basically me talking about, the oil prices, gas prices and stuff like that, and where Trump is envisioning the prices to go at, which oil prices aren't high right now. They're steadily going down. Gas prices are going down in certain areas if you live in the country. You know what I'm saying? In my area, it was just like it was almost touching $4, almost touching $4. Now it's around like, $3.49, something like that. It's not as high as it was before, but that's a good sign. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, that's a good sign, but at the same time too, I think we've lost more than what we have gained. And until we actually see the results of the deal and make sure that Iran holds their portion of the deal, we could be seeing a very bad political landscape for Republicans going into the midterms. So let's go ahead and watch this video.
We're doing very well with Iran. They've been decimated, and we're making a deal with them, and we'll see how that all goes. We had 19 barrels of oil, 19 million barrels of oil come off, and that's the biggest in the history of the Strait, the Hormuz Strait. Our stock market is through the roof, and oil prices are tumbling. I think it's going to break it, $70 a barrel. That's lower than we were when we started, and it's been amazing. And the big thing is, Iran will not have a nuclear weapon.
That's President Trump touting the 19 million barrels of oil flowing through the Strait of Hormuz following the 60-day memorandum of understanding. Oil prices this morning are lower again. It has been dropping sharply. And investors are watching traffic through the strait. The price of crude now below 72 at 71.89. That's down almost 2%. The Trump administration is waiving sanctions on.
It's not enough. It's not enough. Not enough, personally.
On Iran selling crude oil. And that is happening for 60 days.
You get gas down to $3. You get gas down to below at $3 and below. Yeah, you got my vote for the midterms.
Gasoline prices remain under $4 a gallon right now, compared to more than $4.50 just a month ago. So we are looking at oil and gasoline come down sharply. Overnight, the president.
Damn, $4.51. I don't know where gas. That was the average, the national average for gas price. Damn. I mean, I don't know if it was $4.51 where I was at, but it was definitely touching that 4. It was definitely touching that 4, right? And $3.92 is it seems about right in certain areas, but like I said, in my area, it's a little bit lower. So you know it's a good start, but there's so much more work that needs to be done. So much more work.
Wrote on Truth Social this: the big oil companies are not dropping their price at the pump commensurate with the sharply lowered prices they're paying for oil. Those prices are dropping like a rock. In other words, customers are being gouged. I have instructed the DOJ to immediately start looking into this. Gasoline prices better start going down a lot faster than what I'm seeing, writes the president. Joining me now is the former energy secretary under President Trump in his first term, Dan Brulette. Dan, great to have you this morning. Thank you so much for being here. And of course, prices have been coming down, but not fast enough for President Trump. What is your reaction to his post?
Well, good morning, Maria. Great to be with you. Look, I think the president's right. Prices are going to come down. I think what he said is very, very important to understand. What we're measuring here is a number of barrels coming through the Hormuz Strait. The scorecard is the number of barrels. It is not a piece of paper. It's not the overall. It's not what the traders are doing with the pricing. It's the number of barrels moving through the strait. That's what's bringing the prices down. But it's also important to remember there's a saying in this industry, up like a rocket, down like a feather. We're measuring two different things. One is the price of crude globally. The other is the retail price at the pump. Most of those prices are set by mom and pop gas stations across the country. There are some big box stores like Costco and others, but they control the price at the pump, and they are pricing it based on the prices that they paid for crude oil months ago. So it will take some time for these retail prices to come down, but I fully expect by Labor Day here in the United States, we're going to see retail prices much closer to $3 a gallon.
Labor Day. So he's talking about like in September, right? What is that? Like 2 months away? That's enough. That's a decent time frame, but there's just no telling what's going on if we don't really have a sealed memorandum of understanding. You know what I'm saying? We don't have a sealed deal, right, going on. There's no telling whether or not they're gonna, try to, reverse course, Iran, you know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you never know with these people. These people have not shown to be actually very consistent on their statements. You have a lot of people in the Iranian government and in the, in their region area, you know what I'm saying that, they don't agree to the deal is frivolous, and there's some people saying that, we're gaining more than what we're actually losing. You know what I'm saying? We gain more than what we initially had in the beginning of this war. It's really hard to tell what's really going on until we actually get to a point where, actually the bombings have stopped. You know what I'm saying? No more bombing. A complete ceasefire has happened, right? And the negotiations are, fully on the table, which I'm hoping JD Vance is doing a good job at negotiating for the president and for America. You know what I'm saying? I hope he has, I think, and I would hope to believe that he has America's best interest. And he understands that, we can't take any more L's when it comes to this Iran war, right? We can't take any more L's. This should have been over very quickly. And the fact that it's taking as long as it has taken, it shows a lot in, about Trump's, I wouldn't even say leadership, but his decision-making skills when it comes to picking certain conflicts. Trump, for the longest time when he was running for office for 2024, he said that he would not put us into another endless war. So this war needs to end. It has to end, and we need to get past and move on from this. And I've been saying this since day one, since I've been, even like watching this case. You know what I'm saying? Like the quicker we get out of this, the better. But we don't need to get out of it and not gain anything. You know what I'm saying? Because we've lost too many. You know what I'm saying? We've lost 13 people, I'm pretty sure, to this war, and we shouldn't have lost any lives. We shouldn't have lost any lives, right? It should have been like Venezuela. We should have just got in, got out, right? And let Israel keep picking its own fights, right? You know what I'm saying? But we've stayed in it way too long, and I think Benjamin Netanyahu has been in Trump's ear a little too much, and we need to. And people are gonna be like, "Oh, that's you're being, I don't know what the word is called anymore." They have so many terms for people who don't like Israel. It's not that I don't like Israel; is that I'm just not a fan of fighting wars for other countries. You know what I'm saying? If the war isn't for American sovereignty 100%, then there's no point of us getting involved into a meaningless war that's just gonna, kill Americans. Like, I'm not really for it, right? And I don't think a lot of Americans are for it, you know what I'm saying? So
And you think, I mean, the president sort of jawboning the oil companies to take gasoline prices lower. You're saying it's not up to them.
It's not up to them. It's not the producers who set the retail price. It's actually the retail stations that we see in our neighborhoods all across the country.
Well, meanwhile, the administration announced more than $17 billion in loans to help accelerate the deployment of 10 large-scale nuclear reactors across the country. This is part of his President Trump's executive order signed last year to quadruple domestic nuclear power by 2050. Dan, the president has all hands on deck when it comes to powering up this economy and powering up this AI build-out. It's not just about oil and gas, it's about nuclear as well. Your thoughts?
That's exactly right. And he's focused on the right thing here. This is, focusing on the factory floor. We've allowed our nuclear industry to atrophy over the last 30 to 40 years, and we've moved away from the ability to manufacture things like compressors or steam generators or vessels that go into these reactors. And what the president is focused on is rebuilding that manufacturing capability. These are products, these are called long lead items. You buy them years before you pour the first concrete. So the president's focused on the right thing here. And what I really like about this program is that it's conditioned. It requires the utilities and the nuclear reactor manufacturer, Westinghouse in this case, they manufacture an AP1000. It requires them to put money on the table before they receive government money. So there's a commitment involved here on their part as well, which protects the taxpayer. And I think the president has that in mind as well.
Well, I mean, look, the demand is incredible because of what's going on with what many are calling an industrial revolution here with AI. U.S. power consumption expected to hit new highs this year. They surpassed annual records for a second straight year due to the surge in demand for AI data centers and crypto mining, Dan. Residential and commercial demand also fueling this surge, and yet you've got lots of pushback by Democrats who say they don't want these data centers being built out because it's affecting neighborhoods. What are your thoughts there?
Well, I think the demand curve is real. When you look at it, I've seen numbers that suggest that we had roughly low 30s, 30 gigawatts of power demand coming from data centers last year. That number is expected to be north of 60 gigawatts by 2027. To put that in context or give you some sense of that scale, New York City on an average day uses 6 gigawatts. So we're talking about a 30 gigawatt increase, roughly 5 New York City-sized grids that need to be built in 2 years. That's what we're facing. That's the challenge. And as we look at AI and this race against China and other adversaries, it's really a race no longer just for chips or compute power. It's a race for electrons. And we're losing that race if we can't build this infrastructure more quickly than we have in years past. So I think the focus is correct. I think we need to address, things like regulatory policy around utilities to allow this infrastructure to be built even faster.
Well, all right. Well, I mean, you get the spill. I mean, he's talking about a whole lot of business, but the business is important because we're focused on, there's so many things going on, right? They got housing bills, affordability bills coming out. They got all these different bills, Save America Act bill. They got so many things. Trump has so many things on his plate that I feel like a lot of stuff is getting lukewarmed and watered down, you know what I'm saying? And that's why things are getting passed and things aren't getting done, because there's not a lot of thought being put into a lot of these bills, right? Because they have to worry about trying to figure out how to get themselves out of how to get out of the Iran conflict without looking dumb. just, they're trying to find a way to successfully move away from the war without looking like they failed at trying to accomplish their objectives that they set before the war happened, right? They wanted to be able to, potentially regime change Iran, you know what I'm saying? And they kind of got some of that, but they didn't get all of what they wanted. So now it's up for diplomacy to try to figure out a way to come together on issues without still constantly going back and forth and fighting each other. Like I said, Iran hasn't done anything for real to us. They haven't struck in any major U.S. landmarks or land areas or whatever. They've only hit places that are close to them, because I guess that's only how far their missiles can really reach. This is the thing. They're not really doing much to us necessarily. Like I said, they've claimed the lives of 13 people, 13 service members, which is terrible. They've risen the prices on a lot of our stuffs inside the country when it comes to, the war and stuff like that. And then all the extra spending that we've been doing to, increase military people and, all the services that is needed to be able to keep up this military fight going on with Iran. But at the same time, all this is doing is causing us more trouble within the state than we necessarily need to have. Like I said, when it happened in Venezuela, it was quick, swift, no change to the economy, no flux to anything that was going on inside the country. But now that we're in Iran, everything is starting to hit a little bit closer to home, and it's not good politically speaking for the Republicans, for Trump. Even though Trump is not going to be reelectable in 2028, it's still not a good look for his legacy, right? And then, like I said, it could be political suicide for Republicans when the midterms roll around, and also when 2028 rolls around as well too. So, but that's all I got for today, guys. If you guys did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a thumbs up, comment down below, subscribe to the channel if you are new. We're going to be trying to do this every day. As long as there's new content, new things to talk about, we will be here on the podcast talking about it. And I know a lot of people, try to get onto me saying that, oh, you don't cover Republicans, you don't cover people in the MAGA tent and stuff like that. And it's like, nah, I got smoke for a lot of these fools. I got smoke for all of them. Trust me, we got something coming for a lot of the people who got removed out of Trump's cabinet, like Pam Bondi, Cash Patel's still there, which Cash Patel, I feel like he's on his way out. But Cash Patel, Pam Bondi, Kristi Noem, yeah, you guys are all getting some smoke. You guys are all getting some smoke from me here in these next couple of next pods. So yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one, man. Peace.